1, 2, 3, go.
All right, so hi everyone, welcome to the session, and we hope that you're going to like what you're going to see today. And my name is Shivangi, and we are here with Tathagat and Amulya. So, Amulya is from Team Career Board, by the way, and Tathagat is here to help you guys out with all of the queries you might have, especially revolving around one of the most asked questions, which should you join, a startup or an MNC? As a fresher, as somebody who's starting their career, what should be the right choice for you? So let's just stick around and and wait for a few more people to join. Meanwhile, Tathagat, please take this opportunity to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Shivangi. So, hi guys, I'm Tathagat and I work as a front-end engineer at CRED. I work in the web team here at CRED. Before CRED, I was at Ixigo, which is a travel startup. And there also, I used to work as a front-end engineer in their web team. I used to handle the trains wala LOB. And in CRED, I joined CRED last year in December. It's been almost 10 months now. And yeah, I've been building with the web team from the past 10 months.
No, that's great. Also, like Amul, could you also introduce yourself and let the audience know about you?
Hello everyone. So I am Amulya from events team at Career Board, and we will be talking about Career Board, the opportunities at Career Board, and of course we'll be knowing about the target and his journey at CRED. So looking forward to it.
All right. Then let's start the session. I guess a lot of people have already joined, so let's begin. By the way, everybody who is watching right now, if you have a friend who wants to learn about this particular topic or has a question that they need to ask Tathagat, Amulya, or me, please share this live with them. We are live, for the next 30, 40 minutes maybe. So make sure that you're not missing out on this opportunity and you're sharing this live session with your friends as well. So, Tathagat, let's start. Could you enlighten the users about the job role that you have at CRED and, basically how your journey began at CRED?
So, right. So, as I told, like I work in the web team, right? And usually there is a conception, or you can say a perception, which may, in the mind of people that web team may people usually make websites, right? And they maintain some sort of a website or something like that. But if you see that the majority of the people use CRED app, right? And the most of the use cases are there on the app. We don't have most of the use cases on the website. So वेब टीम का क्या काम है क्रेड में राइट दिस इज द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन which comes to the people's mind. So uh, if you look at the cred app, right, there are many pages, or you can say many things which are built in web, right, by the web team, that they are entirely not in the native thing. So web team mein people usually also contribute towards many pages which are in the app, inside the app. So we as web developers basically do many things. Include one of those is definitely managing some websites or those sort of things. But we also contribute towards the fancy looking cred app which you guys use. So my journey at cred started in December, as I told last year, and from then I've been contributing to various different parts of the segments and the lobbies. So the journey has been quite good till now, and I'm enjoying every bit of it. And yeah,
All right. And this is not your first job, right? This is your second job, I guess.
yeah. So this is my second job. My first job was at Ixigo.
Okay. And like, what was your profile there and what did it include?
So at Ixigo also I was a front end engineer working with the web team, and I used to look after the trains LOB.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's good. And let us also know something about your academic background. So, what has your education been in, and what inspired you to get into this particular career path?
Right. So my education background is basically I did my BTech from Thapa University,
Mm-hmm.
and I passed out in 2020. And in the college, I usually used to do web development and internships revolving around development only. And I was not very comfortable in doing data structure and algorithms. So I chose this path for myself, basically, that, okay, dude, MNCs are not for you because you don't feel very good and you're not very interested in doing DSA, and which is the primary building block of getting into an MNC. So from my initial college days, I used to build projects of my own and do some sort of freelancing, some internships and all those things. So that those things gave me a platform to basically decide whether I be going with an MNC or a startup. So yeah, this was the thing and journey I used to do in my college, and then ultimately I started working as a front end engineer.
That's so great. Amulya, do you also have any questions for
Yeah,
Tathagat?
yeah,
Please,
yeah, definitely.
go.
Like, you started as a front end developer, so like, what made you choose CRED over the other companies you must have come across?
Okay, so there were multiple things, but the first and the foremost thing was the user experience and the quality of the UI which CRED used to build, right? So as a front end engineer, you want your stuff to look nice. You want most of the people to appreciate ki yaar kya banaya hai, matlab, right? So as a front end engineer, you would want to work at a place which has a definitely a good UI UX, because that is the ultimately what you will be building, right?
Yeah.
So this was the first thing which I picked upon. So basically, at the time of joining CRED, whenever someone switches a company, there is not a single company that you put on the list. There are a bunch of companies which you basically jot down and then try to get into one of them, right? So my basic criteria was having a good UI UX, the companies who have a fantastic UI UX and a good team, definitely, so that I can learn and grow in that company as well. And company culture is also what matters when you join a company and you want to be a part of a place where you'll actually get yourself nurtured, and you'll want that the culture of that particular place should be as good as possible, right? So these two are the major things which I considered while, or any, for example, any place which I join, I consider these two things as the building blocks of my decision of actually to join that place or not. So yeah, this was also the same case with the CRED.
All right. Also, like I'd like to let you know that we have a lot of CRED enthusiasts, amongst the prep Insta audience. So, guys, if you have any questions regarding CRED or maybe regarding what Tathagat's role is there, also Tathagat has spoken really, really highly about CRED. So, I hope you got a good idea of what your career might look like if you join CRED. But you still have any questions, or if you have any other questions, please feel to drop them in the chat below. And Amulya, please continue if you have any other questions.
Yeah, definitely. So, like, you have joined it in like December, so it has been, I guess, 10 months only. So, like, what are the opportunities in this field in long run? So yeah.
In the field of front end engineering, are you talking about?
Yeah, and also about like going it through the CRED part.
So, see, I don't actually consider front end, back end, and all those things. All those different segments are,
Okay.
the opportunities are actually almost the same in every segment, right? So, the career path, the growth opportunity, all those things definitely depends upon the individual. But then, if the individual is good, he'll be able to, crack different levels of opportunities and be growing at any role. For example, a front end engineer might grow more than a back-end engineer, or a back-end engineer might grow more than a front-end engineer. It all depends and boils down to what actually you as an individual are contributing towards a particular place where you work at. So I think the career path, the career opportunity is immense when we talk about the front end or back end, any role, be it AI, ML, any role.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't restrict opportunities by the role. So I do believe that every role, if I would have not been a front end engineer, then I might have been doing back end. So I don't consider ki back end mein opportunities are less, or any other places opportunities are less. Opportunities are ample. It's only it's only about how you perform and how you take that opportunities to actually go ahead with your career.
Also, I think Tathagat, correct me if I'm wrong. as an engineer, you have the basic knowledge, obviously, in the particular domain I'm talking about. There are a lot of domains that, in engineering. But if you are in a domain and if you possess the relevant skill and if you're willing to learn about it and open yourself to learning, there's like, as you said, it's not just limited to you being a front end engineer in every company you go to. You can anytime switch your job role, but you should have the versatility and the will to learn. And you should be working on yourself, and it doesn't really stop. It doesn't mean that if you're graduated or done one thing or done your masters, your preparations and how much you can do for your career doesn't really stop. It's a learning process. It's always going to be there, right?
Correct. So there's a reason we're called engineers, right? We are like, I've seen people who, have worked as maybe a web developer for their initial 3-4 years and then switch their job to maybe an Android developer, right?
Yeah.
So there's no, there's no foundation as to which, for example, you can't do the same thing for, next 20-25 years of a career, right? You have to become versatile, and that ultimately leads to your growth as well, right? You can't say, okay, I'll stick to the front end engineers only. I'm a web developer. I'll only know front end, how web specifically, how to do that. And then, expect a high growth in your career. That's not the part. Basically, you have to become versatile. Gradually, you have to understand that you need to be that person who can, maybe sort most of the things out on your own. Maybe, for example, when you're a fresher, you take help of your seniors, and maybe take some issue is there on the backend side. You just straight away go to a backend engineer and ask him, boss, what's the solution for this? But as you grow, gradually, you keep on understanding that there are some scenarios where you can even get the backend issues figured out on your own. This is how you trust yourself and judge ki, okay, I'm growing, and this is what you have to be at the end of the day. Basically, a one-man army. Basically, you have to make sure that, okay, you at least have some sort of an insight about what are different things available in the market, what are different roles, opportunities available in the market, so that in the down the line, if you get bored or if you want to even switch your stream or role, then you are very sure to where to go, right?
Yeah. That's a very, very good point. And I hope the audience that is watching right now is motivated and inspired to, take this advice up and wherever you go, whichever job role you take, please always be open to learn and always be open to take up opportunities that's present. Because, if you're open to learn and a really good opportunity presents itself, you can always go and grab it, right? And while we're also on this topic, could you let us know what inspired you to get into engineering field, or what made you think that engineering is the thing for you?
So like, as most of the people say that they were techies and geeks. So this is not the case with me, actually. I was not a very geeky person when it came to computers and all. In my 11th and 12th, I was chilling, and I took my physical education as an optional subject instead of computer science. So basically, this was not the case. For me, it basically, to be very honest, started with at that time when I was in my higher secondary school. So at that time, people used to believe in this fact that computer engineers, software engineers are paid the most in the market these days, right?
Yeah.
So for me, genuinely, that was the only. I was never actually very serious about what to do in life, right? I was ki, "ठीक है, I'll do something, but not very sure what I'll do." But then there has to be some deciding factor of like what
Yeah.
you want to do. Will you want to go with engineering, commerce, or whatnot? So I used to get decent marks in my school and all. So I had this opportunity of deciding among science, commerce, and arts, everything. But for me, to be very honest, the deciding factor was to become an engineer, was to actually get a good paying job and have a good life ahead. For now, if you ask me, okay, what is if I had to decide it today, then it has changed a bit. Like, okay, I've developed some insights of what an engineering is. Now, do I have interest in engineering or not? I can answer this question. So yes, I mean, engineering I chose because of that only. It was not
So
nothing very
you,
so serious.
so you got into the field because you thought it was a good paying job, but you also developed passion for what you're doing over the time, right?
Right. So basically, when I was preparing for my IIT JEE, that at that point of time, I didn't even realize or thought about which stream to pick in when I joined engineering. I was very sure that ठीक है BTech करना है, because I'm now into preparing of IIT JEE. But then I took a year drop after my 12th standard, and at that point of time, I was picking some random books of computer science and trying to study and trying to understand a bit of programming, what exactly programming is. And that was the time I developed some sort of an interest into computer programming in my that drop year, 1 year. So basically, that was the crucial year where I was very sure that okay, I was fascinated that okay, I can just write something and machine can do something for me and all those things. And what is the limit? I just wanted to test the limit. What is the limit of this particular thing? What is the limit of coding? What all things can you do? So at that point of time, I was very sure that okay, BTech to karna hi hai, but then let's choose computer science only. So when it came to actually choosing a college and all those things, so I definitely, my first priority was BTech to hai, that is the thing. But my first priority was branch. I wanted to go for computer science only because the interest that developed during that 1 year, one span year. So that was the actually very good time for me to realize ki okay, computer science is something which I want to explore.
Yeah. So you developed passion over the time, right? It was not like you were 6 years old and you always wanted to be an engineer.
No, I was not that type of a person. At 6 year old, I was basically playing cricket, and so initially, till my class 10th, I was very sure that I will probably play Ranji or something of that sort in my cricket career.
Okay.
And
That sounds
from
good.
11th,
Yeah.
I started big focus on IIT,
Yeah.
JEE and all those things.
On while you say that you are from the CS branch, let's also, if there is something that you can suggest to people who are from the non-tech side and want to get a job in the IT sector. So it is given that if you want a job, you have to start with coding. You need to prepare coding,
Yeah.
brush up your skills while you are at it. Yeah, Amulya, did you have a question for us?
Yeah, I have, but you go on after.
Okay,
Yeah.
definitely. So, Tathagat, if you can shed some light on what non-tech students should be doing if they want to, get a job in the IT sector, if they want to explore this particular domain and, want to make a career in it, what are the ways out there for them? Because it's not the end of the road for them as well. But,
Right.
most of them are not really, they do not have the perfect knowledge of what are the correct ways or correct paths to choose.
Correct, right. So, see, I've been across those people as well who are not from a computer science background, who are from the core, for example, mechanical civil background, right?
Yeah.
Those people have actually, not gone with the civil thing and just. So I'll give you a very brief context about it. Let's go in the background. See, for example, when we usually are in class 11 or 12, right? So if someone comes to you and asks you, okay, you have two options. One option is you have some IIT, you can go to some IIT and do BTech in civil engineering, and you have an option of going to a private college and you can do computer science. At that point of time, I think for most of us, IIT is important, right? We don't even think about branch. So
Yeah.
most of the people go in like, okay, theek hai, civil kar lete hain, and like let's do it from. I'm just taking an example of an IIT.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
basically, people then finally realize that okay, my interest doesn't lie in civil. I
Yeah.
want to do coding, right? So I've seen people who actually, so for example, good startups, good companies don't even bother for a BTech degree these days.
Yeah.
They just want you to be good at what you do. So if you're a good
Correct.
software developer, irrespective of BTech degree, MTech degree, no degree, or any course, you can grab a good job. For example, a non-tech guy, for a non-tech person, the most important thing is you should definitely learn coding. I mean, there is no shortcut or there is no alternate option for getting a software engineering job, and if you don't know coding, right? So if you see today in the market, there are many companies and many startups which are upcoming, and they usually teach people. They usually online ed tech is booming in India. Why? This
Yeah.
is the reason. Because for example, if I'm from a civil background, what I'll do is I don't have a college ka 4 saal to study computer science. What I'll do is I'll maybe give money to some company or any edtech company. They'll teach me coding, and I'll probably be ready to crack a decent job in the market. So these companies are booming because one of the reasons is this: like most of the people want to do coding jobs, but they don't have the relevant degree maybe, or they don't have the relevant background to learn coding and all those things. So they usually invest in some particular course and they get the learnings out of it, and then they're ready to crack the interviews and all those things. Just the interview cracking part is definitely depending upon your
Yeah.
skill set and all.
Yeah.
But for a non-tech guy, I mean, there is no end, or you can't say ki, okay, you are from a non-tech background, you can't even go for our software engineering roles, right? There are many people who have opened good and big startups. Their startups have turned into a big companies who are not from a computer science background, but their startup is a tech company. So it's for you to be a software engineer, I don't think degree as a engineer, you have to be an engineer. And when I say engineer, you can learn anything and everything at the given point of time. So
Yeah.
I think there's no boundary to who can be a software engineer. Anyone can be a software engineer. It's just about the point you can learn at any instance of the time. That is the only thing I think I can assume of.
Also, again, if somebody in the audience is from the non-tech background, and as Tathagat said, that there are resources that you can refer and learn coding and start your journey. If you want to get placed in a good firm or good IT company, and you want to be a software developer, want to learn about this field and want to start your coding preparations, you can definitely check out
I
Prepista.
mean, when I talk about resources, it's not about just paid resources. I just took an
Exactly.
example of
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
an tech startup.
Yeah.
There are plenty of resources available in the YouTube and
Definitely.
all those things. You can just go and watch them without even spending a penny around that particular thing. It's
Yeah,
just about
definitely,
how do
definitely.
you spend your time and how do you gather those resources to learn. It's just about learning capabilities and learning opportunities around you.
Yeah. And if you want to learn about it, come down to Prep Insta's YouTube channel. We have a lot of free videos that you can refer to. If you want structured learning also in that matter, feel free to hit our team, even in the live chat below, and we would be glad to help you out. So,
Yeah.
let's also discuss about a very important topic. That is the title of the video, something that most of the audience, people in the audience are curious about. And, Tathagat, we would be glad if you share your views on it. What should a fresher or somebody who is, starting their career or is an engineer, what should they be joining, a startup or an MNC? Because there are a lot of things that revolve around this particular topic, a lot of myths, a lot of rumors, controversies, exaggerated facts. So let's simplify it for the audience. If you could shed some light on it.
Sure. So, ठीक है. These opinions are only mine, right? People will come and say, "Oh, Tathagat
Definitely,
ने
that.
MNC बोल दिया." I am not saying MNCs are bad or startups are bad.
Yeah.
It's just about
Yeah.
how I think about, going. For example, if I would have been a place where I would have seen MNC versus startup, मैं क्या करता? It's just that context. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
for me, like as a fresher, you have to take this call. For example, you fall. There are two buckets, right? We have divided my MNC ka bucket and let the other bucket be a startup ka bucket, right? Now, first thing is, if you fall only in a single bucket, then your life is sorted, right? Like for example, it was me. I knew I won't be able to crack an MNC because I'm not good at data structure algorithms, right? Even if I go and sit in the MNC ka interview, I'll probably be scraped off in the very first round because I'm not good at data structure algorithms, right? So my bucket was very clear. Ki boss, you only fall under the startups ka bucket because they usually judge you upon your skill set, right? And you don't have to be that good in DSA. So my bucket was very clear. I was very sure ki okay, boss, startups are for me. And the other factors which differentiate an MNC with a startup is, as far as I've seen is, so in MNC, there is a process defined, right? You are bounded around a process. You have to follow a process. So maybe the opportunities which come for around you or come till you is filtered, or you can say are process filtered, right? You
Yeah.
can't actually go and seek every opportunity which feels interesting to you. But in startups, since the company is not very big, I think the opportunities are ample, and you can just go and grab any opportunities till the time you're performing your work in a good manner, right? So I see startups a very good place to grow, a very good place to start learning on how to take responsibilities, how to become a stakeholder, how do you feel accountable for everything you do. So
Yeah.
startups are a very good place, according to me, for these things if you want to grow in this particular domain. So for me, like I wanted to learn basically, and I'm still learning how do you development and coding is all everyone can learn, but there are some other factors as well which you want to learn at a very young age as well, right? Like managing things, or how do you talk to different teams, how do you
Yeah.
talk to different people, how do you take different responsibilities. In startups there is nothing such as okay, you are a front end engineer, you'll just build things and boom, shipped. You have to
Yeah.
be an owner of a particular thing. For example, I do a X segment ka kaam karta hu main, so I have to be very sure about, okay, I'm building a UI for a segment X, but I have to be very sure how is that segment X performing in the market? What are the figures? How is it performing? Is it performing good? Is it performing bad? What all things can we do to improve it? So these insights are basically, I think, possible in a startup only, not MNCs. So basically, if someone comes and tells me, ki, boss, I want to exponentially learn, I'll surely recommend a startup because, as I told, the opportunities are ample and you are able to grab those opportunities. in MNCs, you are bound to a certain process because the companies are huge. So you have to be under a defined umbrella or under a defined process. You can't actually just expand your horizons up to any limit. There is a limit to everything, right? You have to keep on getting promoted and promoted till the time you grab those opportunities. But in a startup, a young engineer, a fresher can also grab those opportunities, which a 4-year or a 5-year experienced person is doing also. So I think for me, startup was a place for people who have both the opportunities, MNCs and startups. I think it's their call on the basis of do they really want to hustle, or they want a peaceful job, just 9 to 5 job, and just go to office, come back home, and that's all. After 5 signed off, no emails, nothing. If you want such life, you can. I mean, that is not a bad life actually. It is also good life. Like you're bound to a routine, right? But I don't usually like a monotonous life. I actually don't like a routine daily. So for me, startup was a place to work, and it has been till date also.
I think all three of us can agree to that.
Yeah,
All three of us are a part of a startup or budding startup,
Yeah,
correct.
and
even did not discuss about salaries, because people usually
yeah,
what they say is startup में ज़्यादा पैसा मिलता है, MNC में कम पैसा मिलता है, MNC में ज़्यादा मिलता है, startup में कम मिलता है,
exactly.
and then they decide where to go. I did not even bother about salaries, right? Because for me, the enjoyment of what I'm working on is more important. If I'll enjoy it more in the MNC, I'll start going into an MNC. The day I stop enjoying startup culture and startup working, I'll switch to an MNC. But
Yeah.
for now, and I think for the next good amount of years, I won't even switch to MNCs because I'm enjoying the startup life.
Okay, plus one
Startup
to
life
that, by
is
the way.
actually better.
Yeah. Yeah, personal decisions, but I think all
Yeah,
three of us can agree to that. Also,
yeah.
Amulya, do you have any questions for Tathagat?
Yeah, you were saying that you get to learn apart from the engineering field while working at startup. So like I'm curious to know what all fields did you learn about, like something apart from engineering, like yeah.
Right. So let's forget about coding and tech part. So there
Yeah.
is there's a thing called soft skills, communication skills, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
basically, when you have to communicate with 4 different people, or maybe from a cross team communication comes into picture, and you're weak at it, so and in these startups you have to do that. Basically, you have to
Correct.
cross communicate, you have to put your things in front of people, you have to listen them, you have to answer their queries. Anything can come up. So while you do all these things, you just learn about how to build a product, not entirely just coding, but what is a product, how you actually define the product. It's not about only contributing towards code, right? Product code is the last part which actually comes to us. कोडिंग तब होता है जब बेसिकली वी आर वेरी श्योर कि ओके दिस प्रोडक्ट इज व्हाट वी वांट टू बिल्ड एंड दिस इज द predicted market stuff and all those things. So those insights are very important, right? For example, if you want to build your own company in the future, if you're just a very good coder, it won't actually help you, right? Because building a company or building a product is not just about coding. As I said, coding is the last part of it. Before that, you have to do a lot of market research, talk to people, do a lot of surveys, gather a lot of insights, and see the market competitors, and all those things come into picture. And once you're very clear with these things, then only you come and build a product and code it. So I think these things which I discussed apart from coding is what you get to learn in a startup, right?
Yeah. That was a very good answer. And I hope the audience that is watching right now, you guys got some clarity over this particular question. If you ever had this in your mind, we hope we were able to inspire you to make a better informed decision. And while that is said, like I was wondering if you could also share a few pros and cons, because let's also consider that are a lot of cons when you are working with an MNC, right? There are also pros to that, and the same goes for startups. So if you could share a few pros and cons of both the fields, so that people who are watching right now can get to know, at least weigh it a little bit and decide from themselves.
See, everything has a pros and cons, as you said, right? I am not against MNCs. I'm not against that startups as well. But if you talk about pros and cons of a startup, so the benefits we talked about, there are huge
Yeah.
benefits of learnings and all those things, right? There are disadvantages also, a risks factor also when it comes to a
Definitely.
startup phase.
Mhm.
So we recently went through a lot of COVID crisis and all those things came
Yeah.
into picture,
Yeah.
right? And we saw that huge MNCs also were struggled, and they fired a good amount of people, and many people lost their jobs, right? So startups are also, startups are in a growing phase. They are in a very good trajectory, but you can't always, be very sure of what's going to happen in the next 2 3 years down the line, be it any startup in the world. So you are, taking a risk of basically joining a startup. Maybe there are, segments of startup levels, you can say, like early stage startup, mid level, high, large startups as well. So but you can't be very sure about any startup at any point of time. Anything can happen. This is market. Like anything can happen to any startup in the market, right? So you are living in a risk. I won't say it is a risk free world as compared to MNCs are less risky as compared to startups. That is the thing which I want to convey. So basically, the one of the most, you can say, the downsides or disadvantages of, not disadvantages, basically a risk factor is involved definitely when you join a startup. And if you're ready to take that risk, I mean, there's nothing else I would, recall in the cons of joining a startup.
Yeah, definitely. MNCs definitely you're also provided with a sense of job security that, there is a culture and there's a protocol that is being followed. So, your job is kind of safe. But with startups, it's so dynamic that you cannot even predict that, tomorrow if there is a good opportunity or if there is a huge factor involved which is going to risk everything. You never know what's going to happen. But that is also the thrill of it, right?
Right.
And how many of you, by the way, watching right now know that CRED is also a startup? Like,
Yeah.
that is also a very fact that even when I got to know, it was a little not shocking, but yeah, it was a little strange because I always thought of CRED as a very big company. I have had that image in my mind, as most of us have had. So, Tagat, if you can also shed some light on it.
Sorry, I missed your point. What exactly?
Okay. I was letting the users know, letting the audience know that CRED also began as a startup. And, most of the people do not really know about it. They think of CRED as a huge company that has always been there. But, CRED was also a startup, came from the idea of a person that, let's create something that looks like this, feels like this. So, if you could also tell people something about CRED.
Yeah, so we are still a startup, definitely. Like, we're not a big company. We won't call ourselves a big company. We are definitely a startup, and we started 3.5 years back. So basically, but yeah, the work we are trying to do, and we are trying to, impact users, and we are happy with what we are doing. So basically, we'll still call ourselves a startup, and I mean, there's no doubt in it. So a big company, or like, I don't know what's the definition of a big company, but
Yeah.
if you ask me, so CRED is still a startup. Yeah, we are a startup.
And so is Prep Insta, by the way. Prep Insta is also a budding startup. We started, I hope you guys have seen that particular video. If you haven't, go through the video section of Prep Insta's YouTube channel and find that video. If you want, we can make another one very soon because, it has been requested a lot many times. And if you are interested, drop comments in the live chat below. We will request our CEO to come live for you guys and let you know about the story of Prep Insta because we went live on Instagram once and people went crazy for it. So we would love to do that on YouTube as well. If you want to know more about Prep Insta and how Prep Insta came into action, we would love to get a session for you. All right, Amul, do you have any questions for Tathagat?
Yeah, definitely I have. Like since we were talking about MNCs and startups, so yeah, I want to know some pros and cons of startups.
So we, like, I already answered this. Like, the pros and cons of startup are basically, we talked about pros also, and cons is it is a, high risk area, you can say that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're ready to take that risk, go on. High risk,
Yeah,
high gain.
Tathagat, I guess you already covered that question, right? So people who are watching, if you missed that part of the session, do not worry. This video will be available on our YouTube channel to rewatch and to share with your friends who might have missed the session. So make sure to watch it again if you missed any parts of it. And Tathagat, if you had to give some advices to somebody who is starting off their career, who is still wondering as an engineer, what, because let's be honest, be it engineering, even if we talk about other fields, there's always this chaos of somebody who is graduating. They are referring to so many places looking for help, looking for somebody to give them guidance as to how they should be shaping their career, what choices should they be making. There's always so much chaos, and that is also understandable. All of us have been through that phase. So if you have to give some solid advices to people who are, who will be graduating soon and who are struggling with the same kind of issues, what would you be suggesting to them?
See, I always there's a simple answer to this question which I always give is like be good at what you do, right? Don't try to
Yeah.
do many things at a time. Matlab, usually in college, what happens is there is a batch of people studying together, and since there's a variety of people around you, you'll get different people to be doing different things, right? Few people will be doing AI ML very good. Few people will be maybe doing some hardware stuff very good. Maybe some are good at coding. So you can't be good at everything. Just understand this. And secondly, if you are good at one thing, trust me, you'll get a good job out there in the market, and you'll be easily able to get a good opportunity in the market. But if you know 10 things and you're not even good at a single one, I mean, I'm pretty sure you won't be able to get a very good or maybe at your dream job using those 10 things. So just be good at one thing. It may be DSA, it may be development, it may be anything, machine learning, anything. But just make sure whatever you do interest you at first place. You're not doing it for sake of pressurizing. Someone is pressurizing you. किसी ने बोला कि ठीक है MNC में job लेना है, for example Microsoft में job लेना है. You know that Microsoft asks data science algorithms, and you will be doing it for the sake of getting a job into Microsoft. Then you should not do it. You should do what interests you. For me, it was development, so I did not even touch DSA any time of my four pura 4 साल of BTech. But then it depends upon you. And I mean, there are a lot of opportunities available in the market. If you're not able to, for example, I was not able to crack any of the on-campus opportunities when I was in my college. Okay, so XT was an off-campus opportunity for me. So it is not the end, right? BTech is not the end for your career. It's just the starting. You're about to start your career, right? So
Yeah.
don't get disappointed if you're not able to crack a job on campus. I was not able to. I only sat for I think 2 companies in my in Tapar. Mein there are good MNCs also come, D Shaw, I mean, and JP Morgan, Microsoft, every company you name it comes to Tapar. But I didn't even sit for those companies. I only sat for 2 companies. Those 2 companies also rejected me. And then eventually I got an off-campus opportunity. So just enjoy your life, and I mean, do whatever you feel interest you, and don't pressurize yourself in doing something which you think is not made for you, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's absolutely fine, and you can get a good opportunity out there if you just follow this game.
All right. And, I also wanted to take up a few questions from the chat because it seems like there are a lot of questions going on. Also, we are taking two, special questions from our Instagram. As we have already told you guys, you can, just drop your DMs, drop your messages in our DMs, and we will be taking the best queries in the live sessions, in this one as well as in the upcoming ones. So, this particular Okay.
I'm
It's okay,
sorry.
guys. That's totally fine, Amulya. So, I was just, the first question I was taking was from Instagram. It was shared by Rohan. So Rohan is asking if I want to build a career, in the related field, which one should I go for, AI or ML or both?
See, AI, ML, I definitely align to this point that these two things are very booming in these days in the market. But I think you can maybe start with the single thing and then see how it works for you. You can maybe do any internship or any sort of a freelancing to actually test ki what exactly is it working for you or not, and then decide ki okay, for example, AI is not working for you. I mean, ML is something which I could try. So I mean, giving both shots together, I don't feel it's a good idea. Let's try it one by one and
Yeah.
see what fits you the most. I mean, and then go ahead with it.
All right. And then there's one more question by Prerna. So Prerna is asking, I am learning cloud computing right now. Also, Prerna is a Prepinsta Prime user. So hi, Prerna. Thank you for preferring us. And Prerna is asking, I am learning cloud computing currently. So what are the options, career options that I could go for?
So like cloud computing, there are a lot of, so for example, most of the companies have their own, infra team, and they, manage everything related to infra and all those things.
Yeah.
So there's a good amount of opportunities available in the infra team for, cloud engineers and all those folks. So yeah, cloud engineering is something which you can, definitely pursue.
Also, cloud computing is currently, being asked for almost every top company. If you talk about Amazon, you talk about Amazon. So by the way, they stress highly on the SA. But again, there are a lot of companies that we have recently we went live for it as well, and it has been posted on our Prepista 2023
Yeah.
Instagram account as well. That recent hirings by, if I remember correctly, it was Morgan Stanley and JP Morgan and a few more companies. They specified that they expect you to have knowledge even as a 2023 batch graduate. They expect you to have good knowledge of OOPS concept and cloud computing. So Prerna, if you are preparing for it, that's very good. If people watching right now, if some of you are also if you also want to get similar kind of job roles, and or if you share the similar dream company as Prerna does, make sure that you are preparing for it as early as possible, and you have good amount of time in hand to actually prepare. And if maybe you're learning a skill, you're also working on projects, as Tathagat can also vouch for. It's very important to work on projects and build projects on what you have learned, because just saying that I know something wouldn't really give off a good impression unless you have some proof of concept that you have actually worked on it, right? So Prerna, I hope that was helpful for you. Let's also take a
Shivangi,
yeah, yeah.
um, like before you go for another question, should I say something
Yeah,
about career board?
definitely, definitely, definitely.
That works. Okay, so guys, I want to let you know about the career board opportunities as well at the same time. So, career board has started as a task to provide the ultimate career guidance to all the students out here, because after the courses, the main thing that works for every one of us is the guidance, because that's which with we go forward in our career, our life. And we have started with the career growth series with your support, the mentors support, and it will not just help you to get to your career twins, but also it will provide the ultimate career guidance for job preparation, interview preparation, LinkedIn profile building, especially in the engineering job profiles. And the amazing part about the career board is that it is not just for the students, it is for all the professional undergrads, postgrad, the job working professionals, and everyone. And at the same time, you can check out the link of the website in the description. And yeah, you can join our community, you can stay updated to all the updates, career guidance, and we have world class mentors for your guidance.
All right. Thank you for sharing that information, Amulya. And guys, if you want to know more about Career Board, again, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat below. We would love to take them up in the session. So coming back to the live chat questions,
Yeah.
Trisha is saying that the session is very helpful. Thank you so much, Trisha. And we would love to help you even further. So make sure you're back for another session, because these live sessions are, we are planning a few more sessions with Career Board's team, and we hope that collectively we can help you out as much as possible. So make
Yeah,
sure to be back next week as well. Hopefully, we'll have another good session for next week too. So,
definitely.
yeah. So Abhishek is saying startup or MNC with good work pressure is always best for freshers. So, Thagat, what are your thoughts on it?
Uh, See, I mean, as I told you earlier as well, ki work pressure for me, work pressure is something which is not a deciding factor for me at least. Like, and it's not the case every time with the startups ki work pressure hoga. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you might have flexible days at some point of times, or
Yeah.
some point of time you might have to hustle and work and get things done. So it might be a case with MNCs as well, but startups are known for work pressure thing. But I don't actually consider work pressure as a deciding factor. And if you're a fresher, you are young, it does not mean you will be able to take a good amount of work pressure. I mean, I've seen freshers who just are not able to take work pressure, and they want to join a place where they have a very small amount of work to do. I've
Yeah.
seen people at a very advanced stage of their career who want to take work pressure and want to work at a place which has a high work pressure. So I mean, it's not something which your age decides ki you are able to take work pressure or not. It's just about the individual, and if an individual can handle work pressure, I mean, he can handle it at any point of time. And it's not that as well. Ki work pressure has something to do with startups or has something to do with MNCs. It's just about how or which or what kind of work you get. It may be with an MNC as well. You have a good amount of work pressure. It may be with a startup as well. Ki अच्छा खासा work pressure का काम है. So it is not something we should not relate work pressure with startups or MNCs. I mean, let's keep it separate.
Yeah, that was a very good answer, Tathagat. Ronak is asking, in the recent times, we have been hearing about recession and how companies are facing loss. We have seen that many MNCs are taking a lot less recruits. Are startups facing the same issue?
See, I'm not very sure about this thing because I'm not very much interested into this. Actually, I'm not very keen about knowing what exactly is happening in any particular startup or MNC. But ठीक है, मतलब we all know कि inflation is there and the markets are tight these days, and we're not very sure when the markets will be back. So yeah, definitely, मतलब MNCs and everything, every individual as well. If you take up, let's leave about startup and MNCs. You talk about individuals as well. Like there is inflation in every corner of the market, so everyone is affected by it, right?
Yeah.
Some are affected to a greater extent. Some people or some assets are affected to a smaller extent. But none of us is ऐसा नहीं बोल पाएंगे कि we are not affected by inflation. It is grabbing everyone, and let's hope the market comes back to what it was in the past as soon as possible. But yeah, inflation is there and the markets are down. That is something which everyone knows, right?
Yeah. Also, Ronak, if you want to discuss more about this particular topic, you can check out Prepinsta 2023 and Prepinsta off campus on Instagram. We have recently shared a lot of posts because we have been getting these queries. That is totally understandable, guys. We know you're freshers and you're so concerned about this, as you should be, as any one of us should be. And, let's be honest, all of us are. So, we have put up a lot of posts to make sure that you are well informed about the issue and you know what to expect, what not to expect, and how to go about it and make sure your career is running as smooth as possible. So, definitely check out the recent post on Prep Insta's Instagram handles. The links are in the live chat as well as in the description below. So, I think you will definitely find that helpful. Also, for you, Ronak and Rohit is asking, about companies that are hiring right now, startups that are hiring right now. If you are interested, Prepinsta is also hiring. So if you want to join our team, as we have different parts of the team. So if you want to join us, please feel free to reach out to our team on Instagram or LinkedIn, anywhere where just reach out to us. Let us know that you are interested in joining the team, and we would love to give you an opportunity for it. All right, so I guess that's it. We have covered mostly all the questions. All the other questions are just repetition of this particular one, and the team has already answered most of them in the live chat. So, if you guys still have any questions, or if you're watching this video once the live session is over and you still have any questions, please feel free to drop comments or reach out to our team on Instagram. DM us on Prepinsta 2023 or Prepinsta.off campus. The links to all of them are in the description below. We would love to help you guys out. And if you want to have another session with the Tathagat also, please feel free to, again, let us know in the comments because you have to talk to us about it, right? And I'm sure the Tathagat must have also loved helping you guys out. And if you want him to return to the channel, we will request him to be back here for another live session too. And I hope the Tathagat will also like it. And that's it, guys. Again, also, the marketing team had something to say, and I just wanted to convey something on their behalf. We are running a sale currently on the website. So if you're planning to start your preparations, if you're planning to get your Prime subscription, make sure to check out Prep Insta Prime right now. We are running a no reason sale because who needs a reason for some extra discounts, right? So it is a no reason sale, as the name says, a very short period sale for you guys. It might close up tomorrow as well, based on there are no reasons for it. Basically, that is why it's the no reason sale. The link is in the description as well as in the live chat. Use coupon code which the team is going to drop in the live chat below and get additional discounts on top of the discounts that you're already getting on the website. So I hope you guys find that helpful. Also, if you have any queries regarding that, or if you want guidance with preparations, or if you have queries for any of the companies that you have applied to or want to apply to, you can also give us a call and directly talk to our team on 844-844-0710, or leave DMs. We would love to help you out. Thank you so much for joining, Tathagat, Amole, and everybody who is in the audience right now. We would love to have you again here with when we are back with another session. And Tathagat, how was your experience on the channel?
Yeah, it was good, and thanks for inviting me. I mean, it was a very insightful session I've had after a good amount of time. So yeah, I enjoyed every bit of it, and I hope that you keep on doing such sessions, in future as well with maybe more people. And yeah,
Thank you so much for coming here, and thank you, Amule, as well, for joining on behalf of Team Career Board. Guys, if
Yeah.
you have any questions for Amule, also Amule will hopefully will be back on the channel next week.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions for her, again, drop comments. We will definitely convey it to her in the next live session, and we will be talking about them in the session itself. So
Yeah, correctly. And one thing I want to add on, that if you want to get mentorship session with the target as well, you can visit on the career board's website. There is an option available. You can go for that as well.
all right. So
Yeah.
I guess that's it for the session. And thank you so much for joining. And we'll be back again for another live session. So see you soon.
See you soon,